Hello and welcome to my channel. This is an unoriginal idea, I know, but I just wanted to put out something. I'm assuming you already know what an iceberg is at this point. I mean, there are countless videos on YouTube of explaining them. So if you don't know what they are, you're really living under a rock at this point. The Sonic OVA was a two-part series that will be converted into a movie, released in 1996 in Japan and in 1999 in the USA, supposedly in a move to boost sales of the upcoming adventure game. I personally like it, and I remember reading somewhere that it was supposed to be like an actual series, but production halted after 2 episodes, which is why we have this now. It does have some really quotable moments.
You might know everything I'm going to do, but that's not going to help you since I know everything you're going to do. Strange, isn't it?
I swear the English sub is so bad it's good sometimes. Sonic EXE is one of the oldest and most infamous creepypastas. I wasn't too big on them when I was a kid, but even I could tell this was kinda generic. It was just being shocking for the sake of being shocking. It spawned a whole slew of EXE characters, which are, in short, just...
For playing, now I can find your IP. Oh, really? Oh, can you? I mean, dude, I'm kind of connected through like a VPN, but hey, you do you, boo boo. It's a game created by. I mean,
covered in blood with black eyes and red dot pupils. Very original, I know. After being told that his creepypasta is bad and was removed, he made a very mature response, and the author is notably not the nicest guy ever. Sonic X-treme was the cancelled video game for the Sega Saturn. It was supposed to compete with Mario 64, but it never happened. Would this have saved the Saturn? I'm not sure. But if you want to try the game, there are methods of getting it, as it has been leaked online. There's also a remake on the Unity engine. Sega hired Christian Whitehead, who had previously made Sonic fan games before making the remasters of 1, 2, and CD on mobile. He would become the lead designer on Sonic Mania, alongside other dedicated fans to work on it. Okay, this kinda shows that this Iceberg is a little on the older side. By the end of the first movie post-credits, there was a scene where Tails appeared at the end, teasing a sequel, which is something that they still do even in the current third movie. I also found this image, which I just thought it was pretty funny. According to some developers, Michael Jackson actually composed a few tracks for Sonic 3. It was a rumor for a while, but now it's kinda semi-confirmed. There was some controversy during the release of Origins, where some of Sonic 3's soundtrack wasn't there due to licensing issues, which is a real shame. Hidden Palace Zone was a cut stage from Sonic 2, though it can be accessed by cheats. But in the Christian Whitehead remaster, it actually became playable. Mighty and Ray are two characters that made an appearance in Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog in July of 1993 in an arcade game. It's believed it hasn't been able to be ported due to the game using a trackball. But is it really necessary? Can't you just use a D-pad or analog stick? Mighty and Ray will later appear in Sonic Mania through DLC, and they have also made appearances in the comics. They also consider each other their best friend.
Sonic Adventure!
おいソニック、本当にやるのか？ああ、俺は冒険が大好きなのさ。
Okay, Sonic, go!
ヤッホー！あらあ
ソニックはアドベンチャーが好き。ソニックアドベンチャー。
ー！
Dreamcast!
On April 1st, 2002, EGM announced that Sonic was going to be in Melee. However, this didn't happen. Why is this? Well, listen to the date that I mentioned. At some point though, he was considered to be included in the roster, alongside Tails as the first third-party characters in the Smash franchise, which will later happen in Brawl, but with the exception of Tails. Back when the first movie trailer was released, Sonic fans were surprised to say the least. The response was so overwhelmingly negative that they had to animate him again with a new model that people preferred. It's still better than what we had, but it's not a one-to-one recreation, which I guess people have come to accept. Something else to add is that the movie with the original model is now considered lost media, and with the trailer being released, surely some progress must have been made. But there's also a conspiracy going on. It's possible that they used the old model to get attention, and once they got the attention, they would use the new model. Perhaps this whole thing was planned? On Season 3 of OKKO, Sonic and Tails made a cameo appearance on the show. It's actually full of references, even from the OVA, which I liked. I didn't really watch OKKO much outside of the first few episodes, but this episode was alright as a Sonic fan. This is referring to that infamous screen of Sonic's CD when you input FM46, PCM12, DA25 on the sound test. This was supposed to be a funny image, but it comes off as creepy. Keep in mind, the creepy music is because of the US version. In the Japanese version, the music is a lot more fun, which was the intended context. In Shadow the Hedgehog, gun troopers will sometimes say,
Mr. Yuchinaka is all right.
as an Easter egg. Tails doll is an unlockable character in Sonic R. He's just a hovering doll pretty much. It has no personality, which is probably why people find it kinda off-putting, as opposed to someone like Metal Sonic who at least makes some noises. Tails doll just kinda does nothing except float, which I guess can be off-putting to some people seeing toys coming to life. On the arcade game Radmobile, Sonic makes a cameo appearance as a decorative item in the rear-view mirror. This was actually the first game Sonic was in. Rad Racer was published in Japan in October of 1990, but the original Sonic game came out in June of 1991. Bark and Bean are two characters that appeared in Sonic the Fighters, alongside Fang. These three characters actually first appeared in the comics. Well, except Bean, his first appearance was in '88 in a game called Dynamite Ducks, a beat-em-up game, even before Sonic appeared in Radmobile.
Hey kid, what you doing watching this stupid film? Don't you want to have fun playing Sega?
Sega? Sega who?
Wrong answer, pal. Show him.
It's new, it's wild, it's Sega. International Sega TV games are now here. From Shaw Wallace.
Hey kid, want some more?
Yeah!
Unlock your mind.
There were some designs made for merchandise from the original Sonic movie model, but to my knowledge, these were never released because of the negative response it got. If you find merch with the original model, it most likely isn't official. M-Flow Tripod Baby is just a song that was on the Shadow the Hedgehog trailers in Japan. I can't play it, but I can show you this. Originally, Shadow and Knuckles were meant to appear in Unleashed, but they were later scrapped during development as they wanted Unleashed to have its own identity and wanted to have a Sonic-centered story. And I also read something about not wanting to alienate newcomers. Sounds like they wanted to make this a reboot, but with less characters, so people who play a Sonic game for the first time don't feel like there's a lot of things to catch up on. There are two appearances of Sonic on Adult Swim. First, there's an ad, which is like basically a Sonic ad, and there are 3 different Robot Chicken skits. Totino's was the sponsor for the 25th anniversary of Sonic in 2016, which was one of the most awkward things I've ever seen. Like, come on, he's not enjoying that. Not even Sonic wanted to be there. Naso is the main antagonist of the Naso Unleashed series created by Chakra X. It's a pretty well made fan animation that's heavily inspired by Dragon Ball Z. I would recommend giving it a watch if you're interested. I would also recommend Super Mario Bros. Z. While doing research, I actually found out that it got a reboot that I haven't watched. I grew up watching with the original 2006 series. Ashura is a name that fans gave this glitch colored Sonic. To trigger the glitch, you need to activate the debug mode and place waterfalls. If this color scheme looks familiar, that's because it's actually the base for Search the Tenrec. There is an Easter egg in Sonic Mania where there's a reference to video game Donkey. It's possible that Sonic was rushed during Brawl's development. Some people say this is because he was one of the last characters to be seen in the Subspace Emissary, the adventure mode, which I feel might have been for a big revelation that Mario's rival was finally there, but at the same time they were announcing everything beforehand, so it wasn't a surprise for some people. Remember that in the same game, Snake was also added as a third-party character, and I think he might have been added before Sonic, and he also appeared before Sonic in the Subspace Emissary.
Gotta go.
Hey, guy, you're the first serious gamer I've seen all morning. Check this out. Brand new 16-bit Super Nintendo with Super Mario World. Wow!
Oh, what's this one?
Oh, this is a Sonic the Hedgehog from Sega Genesis. Hey, look at these radical colors, huh?
Wow, Sonic's fast, too.
No, over here.
I like Genesis, and it costs a lot less.
Wait, kid, that game
I'll
there.
take Sonic and Genesis.
I knew that.
Sonic the Hedgehog. More action, more speed. Sega Genesis, it's a whole lot more for less.
Honey is a character from Fighting Vipers, but she's also made cameo appearances in Sonic media. For a while, I believe she was only a rumor. However, she didn't actually become playable until the HD re-release, where you can play as her by pressing the start button on Amy. She's a clone of Knuckles, who's debatably the S-tier character, which puts Honey near the top of the list. Not to be confused with Sonic Extreme. Sonic Extreme was a cancelled skating game for the original Xbox, and possibly the PS2 and GameCube. It probably would have played like the Tony Hawk games, which were pretty big at the time. Or maybe... we may never know. Some plushies out there have Sonic soap shoes, and they must have been the rarest plushies as they command outrageous prices on eBay. Madonna was a scrapped character that was supposed to be Sonic's love interest from the beginning. Yuji Naka said she was scrapped because he didn't want to do the damsel in distress cliche, and that Sonic should be saving critters instead. This is a comic series from Lizardbot about Tails getting trolled. It's a crudely drawn comic that goes beyond Sonic, and I'm not sure if it has ended. The page says that the ending was just a troll, but it also was posted a long time ago, I think. Maybe it's a hiatus. The comic has also produced some popular reaction images, such as these.
Snooping as usual, I see.
This was a part of that competition that Sega held for a new mascot, which means that this was supposed to be Sonic at some point. He would have been able to grab stuff with his ears, but I believe Yuji Naka wanted a character whose attack used the jump button. Somebody drew up a hedgehog that would curl up into a spiky ball. Terios was a scrap character from Sonic Adventure 2 who would later become Shadow the Hedgehog, and apparently he is also now a skin for Shadow in Sonic Cross Shadow Generations. Also known as Sonic Stadium, this was a prototype ROM for the Mega Drive or Genesis and a game engine tester. Gameplay involves Sonic and Tails being bound by two rings, kinda like Dawn of the Dragon, but made before.
Right, that's it, guys. It's to bed. Come on, off we go.
School holidays.
Phew.
I don't know where they get the energy.
What's that?
It's that stuff the kids eat. Wow! Rated to level 10.
Power Pack Swiss made dairy food really gets you going.
Level 10. Well done, Max.
If you don't get all the emeralds in the port of Sonic 2 on the Master System, Sonic will look up into the night sky to a constellation of tails that also says end. I mean, it kinda gives off that tone that he died, especially considering that this is the bad ending where you don't even fight Eggman. By the way, he is only kidnapped and he's not actually dead. On the Wii and low-end PC settings of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, you can find this on Roulette Road, a playing card of Sonia as the Queen of Diamonds. Problem? This was actually fan art taken without permission. The original art was made by Rihanna. Long story short, Sumo thought the image was official art and the artist has accepted their apology. So it's all good. Similarly, Black Knight features this art by Antonino Minero, which was traced from Mega 777's art. This one also got resolved and thankfully even the guy who traced the art apologized, and Mega 777 got a free copy of the game. This is one of the oldest builds of the original game, and it was supposed to be included with the Mega Collection, but because they didn't have the game file, they couldn't add it. In fact, we still don't have it and the game is considered lost media. There's also a few pages on EGM advertising it. In a remote woodland in Iga, Mie, Japan, a Sonic statue on a snowboard was found. It was originally used at Sega World Kadoma prior to its closure, but now only sits on the side of the road. However, since then, the owners of the statue have polished it and it's cleaned and fixed. The Jetsons released a song called Hard Times. The song itself is a remix of Ice Cap Zone. It's not bad. Over 250 Sonic Blue vinyls were released. This was a children's ride that was found at places like malls, supermarkets, and the like. This was lost for a while but has actually been found now. You actually can't lose in this game. Something to note is that it features voice acting for the first time in the series. Well, you can't lose. You are rewarded with a certain amount of stars from 1 to 5. Also known as Sonic 16, this was a proposed game based on the Saturday morning cartoon. It was supposed to be more of a stealth game similar to the cartoon. There is a lot of sneaking and taking it slow, however, that was a problem. The reason it was cancelled is because it was a slower paced game. Do remember that at the time, Sega was banking on the blast processing, which was called that because the Mega Drive or Genesis had a faster processor than the SNES. So playing a slower paced Sonic game would go against all of that, and even what Sonic is supposed to play like. Fast. The game is unfortunately lost media, and this is something that I actually really like to try, and well, I don't know what the chances are of it ever being found. I wouldn't mind giving it a try. It would be like combining Sonic and Metal Gear. Well, now that I say it out loud, it doesn't quite sound right. Welcome to Hot Chick Heaven. No, really, I just wanted to talk about this video. Guptil89's top 10 hottest female Sonic characters. People just can't seem to decide if this video is ironic or just comedic genius in current year.
Numero 8. Cream the Rabbit's mother, Vanilla. She's attractive and is the size of an average human mother.
I can't imagine what it's like to have a single video you made when you were like in your late teens or early 20s and have that be your legacy. The thing you'll be remembered most for, a video where you're basically horny for Sonic characters. I also saw this comment on one of the re-uploads, and I think I have to agree. Have you seen some of MadPet's old game series? And also near the field number committed to the top 10, so I personally can take it seriously.
And now, the top 3 reasons to watch Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Number 3. No assembly required. Number 2. More fun than a pie in the face. And the number 1 reason to watch Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's free. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Watch it this week. Batteries not included.
Weekdays at 6 a.m. on Fox 39.
Sonic Cafe was a mobile service from Sega in the 2000s. It was only available in Japan though. However, a handful of games did make their way to the US and Europe.
¿Dónde dice esa mamada, pinche viejo baboso? Deje de desinformar a la gente a la verga. Para la próxima verifique su fuente, hijo de su puta madre. No esté desinformando a la gente, pendejo. Ya no estés diciendo esas caladas, por favor. La próxima vez que vuelvas a desinformar a la gente, yo mismo voy a ir a tu casa personalmente a darte un putazo.
There were rumors back then that said that Shadow was going to be in PlayStation All-Stars as DLC, but of course this never happened. I'm not entirely sure if this is real or fake though. I'm leaning towards fake, as there are images of characters like Dart, who was confirmed for the game, alongside Abe from Oddworld, and I just think adding Abe would have been pretty cool. However, there are no images for Shadow, which it just makes it seem fake. Initially, Alex Kidd was Sega's mascot to compete with Nintendo's Mario, but he just wasn't selling well, and so they made that competition I mentioned earlier, where Sonic became the winner, replacing Alex Kidd. Tiara Bubowski was a cut character that would have appeared in Sonic Extreme in another game called Sonic Mars, a Manx cat. She was going to be a princess and another love interest for Sonic, but she was scrapped alongside Sonic Extreme. There were going to be ports of Sonic 06 on the Wii and PC, but the Wii wasn't powerful enough to handle 06, and PC was likely cancelled due to time constraints. Remember that they had to rush this game. However, on PC there has been a remake called Sonic P06, which I believe has fixed most of the issues. After Secret Rings and Black Knight, Sega created a poll for the third storybook game. The winner was Greek mythology, but this God of Speed never came out, likely due to poor sales. Personally though, I would have voted for the Old West theme. The creator of Baldi's Basics has stated that he took inspiration from old edutainment games, and if you've seen Sonic's Schoolhouse, you'll probably know that the games are very much alike, down to the unsettling tone and the creepy vibes to it. Fun fact,
This game actually inspired the popular first-person shooter Doom.
Danita Stokes, president of HAG.
It's bad enough that Sega Genesis has the most 16-bit games, but this new Sonic the Hedgehog, oh, he really does my doilies. They say he's incredibly fast. Well, what's the hurry, mister? And about his attitude. Smarty pants! Why can't it be more like that nice boy Mario? Oh! Little brat!
New Sonic the Hedgehog, only on the 16-bit Sega Genesis system.
There exists a handful of edutainment games. We already talked about Sonic's Schoolhouse, but I want to focus on a couple for the Sega Pico, Sonic's Game World and Tales and the Music Maker. Sonic's Game World features what I believe is Amy's first time being voiced. I also played it for a bit and I chose hard, thinking it wasn't going to be that difficult. I mean, it's a kid's game, what would I expect? But I remember it being a little challenging even when I played it about 4 years ago. I even drew on it, and let me tell you, it's a pain to choose colors on a grayscale. And as for Tales and the Music Machine, well, I guess you can make it this. Knuckles' swoosh marking on his chest was supposed to be a branding deal between Nike and Sega, but it never came through. He still kept the swoosh, but it's obviously no Nike now. But hey, I'm sure he could still rock those VLO Nikes. Fighters Megamix is a fighting game for the Sega Saturn. It's a crossover fighting between Fighting Vipers and Virtua Fighter for the most part, including Bark and Bean from Sonic Fighters, and even Hornet. Pop Full Metal is a 2D platform game with several RPG elements on the Sega CD. Originally though, it was going to be a reskin Sonic game with the name of Sister Sonic. However, it was scrapped due to backlash from Pop Full Metal fans and was released as intended. Also known as Cyber City Zone, this was another scrapped stage from Sonic 2. Due to time constraints, it was going to be a single act level, and this one didn't even get a remaster like Hidden Palace did on the Christian Whitehead port. Sega Sonic Bros. Is a puzzle game that wasn't released outside of Japan because the game was considered a failure over there. You make lines of the same color horizontally, diagonally, or vertically. Oh yeah, and it also features yellow and red Sonics. Sonic 06 never had any representation in Sonic X, as the series had ended even before 06 was released. I mean, maybe they could have made it another season, similarly to how the series was supposed to end on Season 2, but it was later revived anyway, but I also couldn't find anything about it being planned. The Sonic Bible was an internal document created by Sega of America in 1991 during the production of the original Sonic the Hedgehog game. In the beginning, Sega of America had little to no exposure to any of the original Japanese fiction related to Sonic, and the Bible was an attempt to establish the definitive Sonic backstory in non-Japanese regions. This is how we ended up with Sonic's planet being called Mobius. Well, this doesn't exist in Japan. Quick and Silver was a platforming game that was released on Amiga computers and the Atari ST. Released in May of 1991 in the UK, Sonic makes a cameo. Yeah, just a month before the release of the first game. Sonic was seen here, but it's not his first appearance ever. We already looked at Radmobile earlier, but it's another appearance before the release of his first game.
Now, when you buy the Sega Genesis that comes with Sonic 1, you'll get Sonic 2 absolutely free. Sonic 2 handles stubborn stains, embarrassing bald spots, no problem. It even slices and dices, makes thousands of julienne fries. But wait, you can play it too. This free Sonic 2 is a $54.99 value. You get 2 Sonics for the price of 1. Sonic 2 fits easily into any tackle box. Made from a space-age polymer plastic for years of family fun, and pets love it too. Buy the Sega Genesis that comes with Sonic 1 and get Sonic 2 free.
Act now. Wiener Dog Sweater sold separately.
This infamous backpack, known as the Harry Potter Obama Sonic, is probably a one-of-a-kind backpack, as I don't think I've seen any other images of it. Did whoever took the picture buy it? Or did someone else? Is it even real? There could be replicas, but the original is entirely unknown. We don't even know what country it's from, or if there are any updates I may not know about. Tell me in the comments. I mean, I guess technically it is. In Sonic Boom there's a character called Mark the Taper, who you know must have created it, but that's Sonic Boom, which I don't think is canon anymore. Similar to the ET-2600 landfill in New Mexico, there exists a landfill full of unsold copies of Sonic 06 somewhere out there. No, there's not. Titled Sonic Wonders of the World, it was going to be the first Sonic movie ever made, even before the OVA. It was intended to be a co-production of MGM, Trilogy Entertainment Group, and Sega. Basic plot is that a kid plugs his Sega Saturn on his dad's computer, which makes Sonic get a will of his own and come out of the computer, where they form a bond before Sonic starts losing his power due to being in reality and not his game. It was meant to come out at the same time as Sonic Extreme, but due to its cancellation, neither saw the light of day. Bro, what's with Sonic Extreme cancelling everything it's associated with?
No!
Sonic Dreams Collection is a 2015 game developed by Arcane Kids for PC. It is an unofficial Sonic game that compiles 4 minigames, presented as unfinished, but the game as a whole later reveals itself to be a horror game satirizing the modern Sonic fandom, such as Make My Sonic, to make your own Sonic OCs, the MMO Eggman Origin, Sonic Movie Maker, and most notoriously, My Roommate Sonic. They are described in-game as having been developed by a non-existent Sega studio for the Dreamcast in the late 90s, but obviously they weren't.
और मैकडॉनल्ड से सेगा गेम्स लाए टेल सॉकर सोनिक स्केटबोर्ड रोग एंड एमी टेनिस ग्रीन पफ फ्लावर कैच शेडो बास्केटबॉल नकल्स बेसबॉल जी भरकर फिर खेलें, खूब हल्ला गुल्ला मचाएं और दोस्तों को भी बतलाएं। चलो चलकर हैप्पी मील खाएं। चलो चले मैकडॉनल्ड से सेगा गेम्स लाएं।
And that's gonna do it for today's video. Leave a like if you learned something or enjoyed the video. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. I want to give a shout out to Swipewind for inspiring me to do this video and this massive YouTube Iceberg series. I'm also interested in making a couple more Iceberg videos about my other 3 favorite series, Ratchet & Clank, Grand Theft Auto, and Metal Gear Solid. But I would also like to make more videos like my Tales Adventure.mp4, which are highly edited playthroughs. I also have a Sonic Adventures.mp4, but I've unlisted it and I'm not too happy with that one anymore. But I'll put it up here if anyone's interested. I don't think I'll be making for the other characters, maybe eventually, and maybe I will remake the Sonic Adventure one to something that I'm happier with. But I'm also thinking about making a highly edited playthrough of Ratchet 2. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching. My name is Tominator900. Have a wonderful day.